Hello and welcome to another video, and this was not a planned thing. I wasn't planning on making a video today, and honestly I really could just wait another day and talk about it on the podcast because we record the podcast tomorrow, but this was a big enough situation that I felt like it deserved its own separate video. There will obviously probably be cut from the upcoming podcast a clip where, you know, this is discussed in bigger detail. Not that I think that my opinion is going to differ from my co-hosts, but I wanted to make a video about the massive shift in the game industry today. And obviously there's been some other stuff that's happened today. There's been not one but two very prominent game sites that have been shut down. People have been let go. Those, of course, are Giant Bomb, which, if I'm being honest, Giant Bomb is a shell of what it was. Pretty much everybody that you maybe had cared about, minus Dan Reichert, was gone already, and they had some other people that either I'm not familiar with or didn't personally care for that were there, and honestly, it's something I'm not really surprised about. The other site that was shuttered today was Polygon, so, you know, that just continues the trend of Kotaku has to be next, right? Like, they have to. But that's not the point of this video. The point of the video today is Microsoft has announced price hikes for not just games for their system, but the console and all of the accessories. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it, and then I'll give my 2 cents. So this comes to us right from IGN. Microsoft raises the price of all Xbox Series consoles. Xbox games confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. We understand that changes are challenging. In an announcement today, the company said it will be raising prices on Xbox consoles, controllers, headsets, and some games. The price hikes for the consoles and accessories kicks in today, May 1st. While the game prices will stay the same for now, we should expect to see Xbox charging $79.99 for new first-party games around the holiday season. Price increases are taking effect globally, with the exception of headset prices, which are only going up in the US and Canada. So we'll go over just kind of the price increase here. So the Series S, like the standard Series S that is 512, that's 300, or it was 300. Now it'll be 379. The Series S that is 1 terabyte will now be 429, up from 350. The all digital Series X, which was 449, has now been increased by $100. So now that system is $550. Your standard Series X that still has a disk drive is now gone from $500 to $600. And the Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition, which I guess is still out there somewhere, has gone up from $600 to $730, which, if you're asking yourself at home, yes, that means that Sony at this time, at the recording of this video, no longer has the most expensive console on the market, because Microsoft has this 2 terabyte that all it is it has a fancier paint job and it's a 2 terabyte drive. All the controllers are going up roughly between $5 and $10, with the bigger price increase going for the Elite Series controller. So yeah, this is all happening. We understand these changes are challenging, and they were made careful consideration given market conditions and rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen, ensuring value for Xbox players. So there you pretty much have it. And so the reason I wanted to make the video wasn't necessarily because of this, what happened here, because I mean, yeah, it sucks. It is wild to me that we are 5 years this fall into this generation. There has never been a permanent price drop, which is crazy. That's never happened in any console generation that I can personally remember. And then to add to that, as well, you know, now it's a price increase. Not adding any extra value here, and that's the important thing to note. So the reason I wanted to make the video is because I see the blame being shifted 50-50 two different ways, but I don't feel that it's 100% being shifted where it needs to go. I have seen about, I'd say half people are blaming tariffs, which I don't think is the case here. And the reason I say that is because tariffs really didn't even affect the Nintendo Switch 2 that much. So I don't think it's a tariff situation. And even if you go and look, Nintendo for right now is not raising the price of their console. They just slightly raise the price of accessories, and they're still committing the highway robbery, in my opinion, of charging $80. So I think some of the blame, the other half I see is being thrown at Nintendo, which I think is partial here. I do think that some of the blame should go to Nintendo because they clearly wanted to go for the throat with the Switch 2. And I don't even think $449 is a bad price for the unit. I'm specifically pointing to the game price increase because, in my opinion, and again, this is all an opinion piece, so this is my opinion, but I don't think that games are offering that much more to warrant a $10 more increase right now. But Nintendo's going to do it anyways. And I knew the minute that pin dropped, it would send a ripple effect through the industry, and it was going to tell the other big two, hey, you can get away with it now. And that's what we're seeing. It was always going to be the test of, well, who's going to go first? Is it going to be Microsoft? Is it going to be Sony? In this case, now we know it's Microsoft. They did this very strategically. I mean, it's the beginning of a month today, so I'm not surprised. Again, none of this comes as a surprise to me, right? Like, I knew this was going to happen. But it's more of a surprise that in the fact that it's never happened before. It's unprecedented in the games industry. And again, I cannot stress enough, no value is being added here. The other thing I want to point out, and I see a lot of people talking about this, I've seen this conversation going on through Twitter, through different forums, and even Reddit and stuff, it's really nice that they didn't raise the price of Game Pass. Oh, well, it's really cool because Game Pass isn't going up, so now there's never been a better value for Game Pass. And while that is true, mark my words, your Game Pass increase is coming later this year. I can almost guarantee you when we get to Call of Duty season in the holiday, we're talking August, September, like right before that game comes out, they will increase the price of Game Pass. They're going to do it again. It's going to be around the year mark from the last increase. And my prediction, I could be wrong on this, I think they're going to go high. I think they're going to swing towards $30 for Ultimate. And I know some people will be like, they'll go 25. I think they go fully hard. And the reason I say that is look at the increase of these systems. We're charging $100 more for the same system that has been on the shelf for 5 years. Again, no added value. It's not a better machine than it was 5 years ago. There's nothing new here. It's the same system that you could have bought 5 years ago, but now you're going to pay $100 more. And Microsoft is very good at wanting to cram down your throat. Well, look at the value. Look at the value. You get Call of Duty on Game Pass now. Would you rather pay $30 to play Call of Duty today or $80? And that will be the argument for Game Pass. The second thing I want to throw out here is I've seen a lot of people like, well, Sony's not going to do this. Sony absolutely is going to do this. It's only a matter of time. They just were not the first ones out the gate. I fully expect Sony to pull the trigger on this within the next week or two. By the end of May, for sure, you are going to hear about an increase not just on consoles, but on games as well. That is what Nintendo did. If you want to blame somebody for the game portion of this, blame Nintendo. And I think the blame is warranted there because they were the ones that tried to push it to 80, and they're not going to pull back on it. And now the other two saw that and said, well, we can do it too. Which also, again, would not surprise me, as we've heard this, throughout the year. And I think there is a really good possibility that that GTA could be more than $80 when it comes out. And I still subscribe to I don't think that game comes out this year. I think it's going to be delayed till March of next year. I would be shocked. That will shock me if it actually does hit this year. And I think that's why they're being really coy about not giving a release date. I could be wrong. I know a lot of people are pointing to Borderlands 4 moving its release date up 2 weeks, but they've even come out and said it has nothing to do with GTA. So I really think that the game's still, I think it's a 2026 game, but I do think that they might go higher. Again, this is all bad news. Like, there's nothing good here. There's no added value in raising these prices. All it does for your average consumer, like me, myself, personally, I made a decision. I've talked about this in the podcast. I don't know if I've talked about it in a regular video, but I made the decision at the beginning of 2024 to no longer buy physical Xbox games, because by them basically going digital at this point, and if you don't believe me, go walk into a Walmart or a Target or something. You will see there's barely an Xbox section anymore. It's all codes and clearance games they're trying to get rid of. And the games that do get put out aren't even fully on the disc. You're getting an unlock, basically a disc that unlocks a key for you. Look at Avowed. Avowed came out. There was no physical copy of that game. It's just a code in a box. So, again, that proves my point. Like, Microsoft is basically already committed to being fully digital. And I'm also preparing myself for whatever they do in the future. If I choose to continue to, play on the Xbox, because right now we're in this weird mode where it seems like I could just play their games on PlayStation and be done. But if I choose to go forward and maybe get whatever the next Xbox is, at least I have my library digitally. Whereas, like, there's not going to be a disk drive for that system. So I fully believe that. But I made that decision in the beginning of 2024. And then with that decision, I also really scaled back what I'm buying. Like, I took a look at it and I said, I don't need to buy everything day one. I'm not even playing everything day one anymore. I don't have that kind of time. And this year, even more so, like, I'll be honest, Claire Obscure is the first game I bought as a day one purchase, and I'm not even playing it right now thanks to the Oblivion Shadow Drop. So, and I'm not going to probably now until after Doom The Dark Ages, because that's out in 2 weeks. So I'm not going to have the time. But that proves my point. Any other game that I've bought this year, the only other game I bought day one was the Lunar remake, because I wanted a physical copy, and that's a whole other ordeal. I could make a totally separate video on how horrible that was handled, but I did get a copy. So that's it though. Like, if I look back at all the other games, it's been Game Pass. Like, I was able to play Avowed day one because of Game Pass. I was able to look at Atom Fall. I really didn't care for it. I could have looked at South of Midnight. I just didn't have the time to. So, but there hasn't been anything else where I'm like, man, I need this day one. I need this right now. For me personally, it's been a lot of like looking at some of my backlog here, looking at, games that have been sitting here maybe the last 6 months or so, where I'm like, oh, I should probably check that out. Or honestly, recently, one thing I've really discovered is buying games on Woot through Amazon. Like, Woot is a great tool to use if you're looking for cheap games. Like, we just got, between Dan on the podcast, myself, we just got the Killer Clowns in Space game for $10 off there. I picked up Pacific Drive, the deluxe edition, for $20. There's something else I bought. Banishers I got for $30. Like, there are good deals to be found on there. And what I'm trying to say here is proving my point of, like, yes, the industry can raise the prices of these systems, and they can raise the prices of games to $80. However, all that's going to do in return is it's going to make people wait. People are going to stop pre-ordering games. People are going to go, well, I can wait 2 weeks. It'll go on sale. And most times you look at something like an Ubisoft release like Assassin's Creed is already a $55 game. You can literally buy Assassin's Creed Shadows for $55. All right, it's already $15 off. And that's the point I'm making here is, like, there's no reason to run out and get these games day one unless it's a weird situation. Like, Claire Obscure is an incredibly unique situation because it's a game that was developed by an incredibly small studio. It's their first game. It's 30 people. A lot of ex-Ubisoft developers, if I understand correctly. It's a $50 game, and it blew the fuck up this week. Like, blew up massively. Like, even over coming out in the same week of Oblivion remake Shadow dropping, the game still found an audience, which is awesome. And it's proving the industry again, like, you don't need to put out an $80 game with a team of 500 people to make a profit. You can make these smaller games and really focus on telling a good story, throwing like really good visuals in it and stuff like that. And again, I have not played the game yet. I have my copy. I have seen a lot of footage of it. I've talked to Dan, who's going to go off about it tomorrow because he's really enjoying the game. But my point being is that game is a bullet to the industry, showing like this is what gaming still can be. I say all of this to end this video and say that I think what you're seeing here, and I've said this for a while, is like we're going to see a collapse of the game industry. And now more than ever, that's what you're seeing happening right now. This is the beginning. We're a little bit further than the beginning stages of the collapse of the gaming industry, between the journalist side of it is just failing constantly. Where now it's like, somebody put out a tweet today, there's only like 5 or 6 actual like IGN. I forget what some of the other ones are, but there's only like 5 or 6 of those really left. Kotaku sadly is one of them, but that's it. And it just keeps getting less and less and less. And you have all of these studios constantly getting rid of people, closing studios, dismantling teams. Like what happened to EA earlier this week, where they basically gutted Respawn, canceled a bunch of their projects, including what probably was Titanfall 3, but from my understanding, it was an extraction shooter set in the universe. But even still, just from those layoffs, it was 100 people from that staff, which I think had 150. So that's a huge amount. And it just keeps happening. It's going to continue to happen. The answer to this problem is not raising the prices of games and raising these system prices that are already extremely expensive for the average consumer. So for those reasons, I think you're going to see a full industry collapse, and then it needs to be rebuilt up. And I think that's what you're going to see happen. But I'm going to put a pin in it there. I'd love to know in the comments below, what do you think about this situation? Again, there'll be more of it discussed on the next podcast episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time.